Good morning and welcome to News at 10 on Rajya Sabha TV. I'm Aishwarya Kapoor. Well, a day after Arun Jaitley presented the Union Budget, now our analysis is continuing on the fine print of the document. Well, that and much more in the next half an hour in this bulletin. Let us begin with the headlines. Finance Minister presents pro-poor budget, announces aim to double farmer incomes by 2022. A boost in allocations for Manrega and big allocations for rural infrastructure and panchayats. Dampener for salaried class, retirement tax at time of final withdrawal on 60% of contributions to EPF made after 1st of April 2016. Delhi High Court reserves verdict on bail plea of JNU-SU President Kanhaiya Kumar till 2nd of March. Court's scathing remark against Delhi police over decision to book him under sedition. Clashes break out in migrant camps of France's Calais as officials began clearing it to relocate them to reception centres. Migrants are trying to reach Britain. And chart toppers India take on Sri Lanka in their third match at the ongoing Asia Cup series in Dhaka today. Well, the government is all set to introduce the Aadhaar bill in Parliament in the next couple of days to give the platform a statutory backing. The move will expand its range of utility in providing government benefits. Till date, over 98 crore Aadhaar numbers have been generated. Now, per day average of 26 lakh biometric and over 1.5 lakh eKYC transactions are made. Aadhaar numbers have been seeded in 11.19 crore DBTL accounts out of the total of 16.5 crore DBTL beneficiaries. Now, there's already a National Identification Authority of India Bill of 2010 which is pending in the Rajya Sabha. The statutory status will provide a legal foundation to Aadhaar for expanding its use for a range of developmental purposes. It has been suggested that all benefits, subsidies or services funded from the Consolidated Fund of India should be linked through Aadhaar platform. Meanwhile, the budget has been a dampener really for the middle class with the decision to impose retirement tax at the time of final withdrawal on 60% of the contributions made after 1st of April 2016 to the EPF and other schemes. At present, social security schemes run by different fund body EPFO are tax-free, under which deposits, accrual of interest and withdrawals are tax-free. Now, in order to bring greater parity on tax treatment of different types of pension plans, 40% of the contributions made on or after 1st of April by an employee shall be exempt from tax. Under the existing provisions of Section 80 CCD, any payment from National Pension Trust System to an employee on account of closure or his opting out of the pension scheme is chargeable to tax. Government has also proposed that 14% service tax on services provided by employees' provident fund organization to employees being exempted with effect from 1st of April 2016. Well, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley presented his third budget on Monday, unveiling what were predominantly pro-rural and pro-poor initiatives. With huge investments in the rural sector and a break for small taxpayers, Jaitley took on both the fiscal and the physical health of the nation by setting the fiscal deficit target for the next year at 3.5% of the GDP.
With a pledge to spend prudently and wisely, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley unveiled his Budget 2016-17 that introduces a series of farm initiatives, rural aid and health programs.
We need to think beyond food security and give back to our farmers a sense of income security. Government will therefore reorient its interventions in the farm and non-farm sector to double the income of farmers by 2022.
Jaitley outlined what he called are the 9 pillars on which the government will base its transformative agenda for the economy. He said the key areas of policy focus will be farming, social reforms, recapitalizing the banking system and infrastructure.
I have proposed to allocate a sum of rupees 55,000 crores in the budget for roads and highways, This will be further topped up by an additional 15,000 to be raised by the NHAI through bonds. Thus, the total investment in the road sector, including the Rural Gram Sadak Yojana allocation, would be rupees 97,000 crores during 2016-17.
Jaitley allocated 35,984 crore for farmers' welfare, which marks a 228% jump in funds for rural transformation. He also allotted 38,500 crore for Manrega, the flagship program of the previous Congress-led UPA government. Jaitley said if the money was spent, it will be the highest ever spent on Manrega.
Sum of rupees 38,500 crores has been allocated for Manrega in 2016-17. Madam, if this total amount is spent, this will be the highest ever amount spent in a year on Manrega.
Other major announcements included LPG connections for poor women that the finance minister said will benefit 1.5 crore households this year.
We have decided to embark upon a massive mission to provide an LPG connection in the name of women members of poor households. I have set aside a sum of rupees 2,000 crore in this year's budget to meet the initial cost of providing these LPG connections. This would benefit about 1 crore 50 lakh households below the poverty line in the year 2016-17. The scheme will continue for at least 2 more years to cover a total of 5 crore BPS households. This will ensure universal coverage of cooking gas in the country.
The finance minister began by saying he is presenting the union budget at a time when the global economy is in serious crisis, emphasizing that India has held its ground firmly in tough times.
Financial markets have been battered and global trade has contracted. Amidst all these global headwinds, the Indian economy has held its ground firmly. Thanks to our inherent strength and the policies of the government, a lot of confidence and hope continues to be built around India. The International Monetary Fund has hailed India as the bright spot amidst a slowing global economy. The World Economic Forum has said that India's growth is extraordinarily high.
Jaitley also announced measures that he said will help more than 2 crore taxpayers. He raised deduction limit for those with total income of less than 5 lakh rupee from 2,000 to 5,000. Besides announcing tax relief for people who do not own a house and do not get house rent allowance from employers. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, there was something in Finance Minister Arun Jaitley's budget for the small taxpayers and investors, though there is no change in income tax slabs. Jaitley said that the roadmap to achieve the fiscal deficit target was on track.
No change in personal income tax slabs, one of the most closely watched aspects of the union budget. But the finance minister did announce deductions for additional interest of rupees 50,000 per annum for loans up to rupees 35 lakh sanctioned in 2016-17.
In order to lessen the burden on individuals with income not exceeding 5 lakhs, I propose the ceiling of tax rebate under section 87A from 2,000 to rupees 5,000. There are more than 2 crore taxpayers in this category who will get a relief of rupees 3,000 in their tax liability.
And there was something on deductions on HRA for those who do not own property and relief for those earning less than 5 lakhs per annum.
I propose to increase the limit of deduction in respect of rent paid under section 80GG from rupees 24,000 per annum to rupees 60,000 per annum, which should provide relief to those who live in rented houses.
There is to be no change in recommendations of the 7th Pay Commission and one-rank pension program. He said the added burden calls for prioritization of government expenditure. Jaitley set aside calls to digress from his fiscal consolidation roadmap. He sticks to his 3.5% fiscal deficit target for 2016-17.
Weighed the policy option and decided that prudence lies in adhering to fiscal targets. Consequently, the fiscal target in the revised estimate of 2015-16 and the budget estimate of 2016-17 have been retained at 3.9% and 3.5% of GDP respectively.
He did yield to a long-standing call for a committee to review the Fiscal Responsibility and Budget Management Act and determine whether there should be a range for fiscal deficit targets. The revenue deficit for current fiscal has been bettered to 2.5% of the GDP from the budgeted 2.8%. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, political reactions to the union budget for 2016-17 range from outright praise from the NDA alliance partners on Jaitley's rural thrust and boost to infrastructure to brickbats from the opposition on what it terms a letdown on promises made and also question marks on their implementation. Here is more.
ये हमारे वित्त मंत्री श्रीमान अरुण जेटली जी को हृदयपूर्वक बहुत बहुत बधाई देता हूं। गांव, गरीब, किसान, महिलाएं और युवा इस बजट का हमारा सबसे बड़ा फोकस है।
A thumbs up from the boss. Modi was all praise for what he termed positives out of tax corrections, steps for primary education, jobs, LPG for rural households and announcements for farmers. That's alongside the expected applause for the finance minister from his cabinet colleagues. The finance minister's budgetary thrust on the farm sector and irrigation, rural jobs and strong allocations for the infrastructure sector were the focus of kudos for him.
हमारे देश के इतिहास में रोड प्रोजेक्ट्स के लिए जिसमें राष्ट्रीय महामार्ग भी है और प्रधानमंत्री ग्राम सड़क योजना है, दोनों को मिलकर करीब 1 लाख करोड़ की प्रोविजन हुई है।
बहुत बढ़िया बजट, इससे बढ़िया बजट जो है ग्रामीण इलाका के लिए, ग्रामीण भारत के लिए हो ही नहीं सकता है। इस बजट का फोकस ये है, ये किसान सेंट्रिक, यानी कि किसानों को केंद्रित रख करके, ग्रामीण भारत को केंद्रित रख करके बजट बनाया है।
परिप्रेक्ष्य में इतना ट्रांसफॉर्मेशनल बजट वित्त मंत्री ने आज पेश किया है कि ये बुनियादी तौर पे इस देश को एक नए विकास के आवाम पे लेके जाएगा।
The political opposition, however, termed it disappointing at best, even little more than an extension of old policies with little fresh initiative. The Trinamool Congress, the biggest BJP opponent in West Bengal, termed it hopeless.
Its only virtue is that it has left every section equally disappointed. The Prime Minister had promised that he would reform to transform. The word reform is a little understood but much used word. Reform means reform of factor markets or product markets. There is little evidence of such reform in the budget.
It is not a budget which is really invite investments. It is not the budget which will sort of boost up growth, and it is neither a budget which will have ease of doing business.
जितने भी काले धन रखे हुए हैं उन लोगों को राहत देने के लिए 45% टैक्स लेकर उनको वाइट बनाने का उनका एक प्रयास जो चल रहा है, वो जैसा कि पहले भी वो कॉर्पोरेट के फेवर में थे, अभी भी वही कॉर्पोरेट के फेवर में है।
Ahead of all important elections in 5 states this year, the budget announcements, even beyond the economy, are critical to wooing the electorate. Central to the many challenges, Finance Minister Jaitley looked to balance. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha Television.
This is how the industry and the common people have reacted to the budget.
The rural investment will happen, the rural demand will pick up. And we have seen whenever rural demand has picked up, the growth level has definitely increased by 2 to 3%. So we will see benefit of this in time to come.
He has also ensured that, small companies benefit with tax rates, startup in companies get registered within 1 day. So that's quite phenomenal to have that. Overall, for large companies which drive growth in India, there isn't anything significant in that sense.
I think the emphasis on farm economy, emphasis on infrastructure, and emphasis on fiscal prudence, all three were important things. The direct cash transfers for fertilizer, I think that's a positive. That's being worked towards. So I think I'd say overall mature progress in terms of the areas that they're focused on.
Increase with a corresponding change in the SENVAT credit system would have been a strong signal to the industry that GST is on its way and will come soon. So that I think is not to be seen, and that's a big disappointment.
ये बजट ओवरऑल बहुत बैलेंस बजट है और उसमें आज का अगर फ़ायदा नहीं है तो आने वाले सालों में ज़रूर फ़ायदा होगा।
उनका प्रयत्न उन्होंने सिंसियरली किया है कि भाई हर एक सेक्टर को पैसा अलॉट करे, लेकिन अभी ध्यान ये रखना है कि वो पैसा ग्रास रूट लेवल तक पहुँचता है कि नहीं पहुँचता है।
आम बजट से हम लोगों को काफ़ी उम्मीद थी, लेकिन यहाँ उल्टा हो गया। पहले से हम लोग महंगाई का मार झेल रहे थे और इस बार और महंगाई हो गया।
ये आम बजट से, ये 2016 के बजट से हम लोग को काफ़ी उम्मीद थी कि अगले बजट की अपेक्षा इस साल कुछ कम होकर के आएगी, लेकिन यहाँ तो एकदम विपरीत हुई। सरकार जो है एकदम उल्टा कर दी, हर चीज़ महंगा हो गया।
बजट है वो हमारे पूर्ण रूप से ये खरा नहीं उतरा है और आने वाले समय में जितनी ये न्यूज़ में आज का जो बजट देखा उसमें सारी चीज़ तो महंगी ही हो गई है।
While the budget is being termed a mixed bag for the middle class, there comes news of a slashing of petrol prices. Petrol prices have been cut by 3.02 rupees per litre, but diesel rates have been hiked by 1.47 rupees a litre. Now, this is the 7th straight reduction in petrol rates. On diesel, this is the second increase in rate this month. The prices were hiked by 28 paise a litre last time. Now, prior to that revision, fuel rates were revised on 1st of February when petrol price was cut by a marginal 4 paise a litre and diesel by 3 paise a litre after the government raised excise duty to take away most of the benefit arising from the fall in international oil prices.
सरकार ने ये पहली बार बहुत अच्छा काम किया है कि हम लोगों को पेट्रोल में 3 रुपए एक साथ में कम किया है।
50 पैसा करते हैं वो एट ए टाइम अभी 3 रुपया कम कर रहे हैं, तो मैं खुश हो रहूंगा।
It's welcome move. We congratulate government for reducing our burden. Thank you very much. 3 rupees per liter is a huge reduction.
3 रुपये क्रूड ऑइल ॲक्च्युली जास्त कमी झालं, त्यापेक्षा एक्सपेक्टेशन जास्त आहे कमी होण्याची। अजून झालंय ते चांगलं, अजून एक्सपेक्ट करतो की अजून 3-4 रुपये अजून कमी व्हायला पाहिजे।
सबको बहुत इंटरनेशनल मार्केट जो है अभी नीचे है, फिर भी जब यहाँ पेट्रोल का भाव बहुत ज़्यादा था, इसके लिए अभी धीरे धीरे और कम होता तो बहुत अच्छा होगा और पब्लिक को बहुत अच्छी रिस्पॉन्स मिलेगा।
Well, we'll slip into a very short break here. We'll be back with more news. Stay tuned.
Hello, I am Ishan Russell.
I'm Tracy Shilchi and you're watching News Tonight.
Together with the team of our
dedicated professionals from across various fields.
This is Shyam Sundar, Vishal Dahiya, Akhilesh Suman,
Frank Pereira from Beijing, China.
Kriti Mishra for Rajya Sabha Television.
We bring to you
the news that matters here on Rajya Sabha TV.
Welcome back. In other news, well, the Delhi High Court on Monday reserved its verdict on the bail plea of JNU-SU President Kanhaiya Kumar. The court will now pronounce its verdict on 2nd of March. Well, the court has also questioned the Delhi police over its decision to book Kanhaiya Kumar under sedition charges. Here is more.
The Delhi High Court has reserved its order for 2nd of March after an elaborate hearing of the JNU Student Union President Kanhaiya Kumar's plea, who is arrested on sedition charges. The High Court also pulled up the Delhi police over its decision to book Kanhaiya and others under sedition. The bench of Justice Pratibha Rani asked police, "Do you know what sedition is?" asking police how they define sedition. Taking a tough stand, the court asked why the FIR was not registered on that day itself when the police personnel were present in plain clothes during the event and had witnessed the incident. Why did the police register the FIR on the basis of TV footage?
The Delhi police is very sure that it has sufficient evidence in the form of eyewitnesses who are independent and natural witnesses who were present at the spot while the commotion and the demonstration was taking place. We have shown that Kanhaiya was very much part and parcel of the unlawful assembly along with Umar Khalid, and they had raised anti-national slogans, including Kanhaiya.
The police had asked for an extension of Kanhaiya's custody to interrogate him along with 2 other students, Umar Khalid and Anirban Bhattacharya. Senior lawyer Kapil Sibal, appearing for Kanhaiya Kumar, has argued in court that the Delhi police status report on the case does not say the student raised any anti-national slogan. The police say in their report that Kanhaiya Kumar is seen in the footage that shows a group shouting anti-national slogans. The police report also says that some foreign elements were present during the event and they had covered their faces to hide their identity. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
In a fallout of the Jat reservation, former Haryana Chief Minister Bhupinder Singh Huda's close aide has been directed to join investigations in connection with the violence during the stir. Now, Huda's aide failed to appear before the Rohtak police on Monday in connection with a sedition charge against him. Virender, who is a Congress leader, was booked by Rohtak police on 24th of February on sedition charges after surfacing of a 90-second audio clip of a purported conversation between him and another person, allegedly to incite violence during the agitation. Now, his lawyer has requested a 7-day time for joining the investigation. The FIR against him was registered on a complaint of a Bhiwani resident. Virender had earlier accepted that the voice in the clip was indeed his, but he had alleged that the conversation had been doctored. Meanwhile, police said that more than 75 persons have been arrested in Rohtak alone in connection with the incidents of arson and violence during the Jat agitation. The police also filed a status report on the alleged rapes at Murthal in Sonipat district. The report says that no such incident took place. And in other news, the Home Ministry is all set to examine files relating to the controversial Ishrat Jahan case. Now, this comes after former Home Secretary G.K. Pillai said ex-Home Minister P. Chidambaram had changed an affidavit which originally described Ishrat and her slain aides as LET operatives. Now, G.K. Pillai had claimed that as a Home Minister during a UPA government, Congress leader P. Chidambaram had recalled the file a month after the original affidavit, which described Ishrat and her slain aides as LET operatives, was filed in the Supreme Court. The then UPA government had submitted 2 affidavits, one that the 4 who were killed in an alleged fake encounter were terrorists, and the second saying that there was no conclusive evidence within 2 months in 2009. Reacting to development, an unfazed P. Chidambaram said that he stood by the second affidavit in the case, accepting full responsibility for it.
It's an absolutely correct affidavit, and I, as Minister, accept responsibility for this affidavit, and it is disappointing that a Home Secretary who was equally responsible wants to distance himself from that today.
News from Rajasthan now, where swine flu has claimed 34 lives in the months of January and February. Now, this is the latest figure released by the State Medical and Health Department officials. Out of 2,000 samples collected in the state, 162 people have tested positive. While 15 deaths were reported in Jaipur, 4 was reported in Ajmer, 2 in Bharatpur, Churu and Hanumangarh and Alwar, besides other places. Now, this year, the State Medical and Health Department has taken several key measures to contain the spread of the virus. The state says that effective surveillance, monitoring and treatment of patients is being done. On to the big international story now. Well, clashes broke out in migrant camps of France's Calais as officials began clearing it. French government now plans to relocate them to reception centres. Migrants living in Calais are mainly from the Middle East, Afghanistan and Africa. They're trying to reach Britain.
Riot police fired tear gas and water cannons as angry migrants set ablaze few makeshift shelters in a camp known as the Jungle in the French port of Calais. Migrants mainly from Middle East, Afghanistan and Africa were protesting French demolition squads who dismantled their huts in an attempt to relocate them to reception centres. Few makeshift buildings such as a school and a theatre were untouched.
Vous avez la constatation à l'instant que des no-borders n'hésitent pas à mettre le feu à des tentes et à des abris, à caillasser des CRS. Ça n'est pas acceptable.
French government is encouraging migrants to relocate to official accommodation provided inside converted shipping containers nearby, but many of them refused the offer, fearing they will be forced to claim asylum in France, dashing their dreams of reaching the UK.
C'est un travail qui sera progressif, long, mais pour lequel nous faisons aussi un travail de fond auprès des migrants pour leur offrir à chaque fois des places disponibles. Il n'y a pas de migrant qui ne peut pas avoir de place.
According to an NGO, the total population in the camp is 5,497. Among them, 205 are women and 651 children, 423 unaccompanied. However, French government have conflicting reports on migrant numbers. According to officials, their long-term aim is to have no more than 2,000 migrants in Calais. The migrant crisis is spiraling out of control, with the EU being unable to find a resolution. Early on Monday, at another European migrant crisis flashpoint, Macedonian police forces fired tear gas to disperse hundreds who stormed the border from Greece. They were protesting over restrictions imposed on people moving through Balkans. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
On to cricket now. India will face World T20 champions Sri Lanka in their third T20 of the Asia Cup 2016 today. The match will be played at the Sher-e-Banga National Stadium in Dhaka. Ahead of the match, Indian off-spinner R. Ashwin said that Sri Lanka was a tough team to beat, giving their ability to outdo themselves in big games. He added that the team would not look down on any of the teams and would focus on the match in hand.
There are only 10 international teams at the maximum, so you're almost familiar with everybody if you're playing for a few years. And Sri Lanka is a team that we played a lot with. But one thing that we're always wary about Sri Lanka is the fact that they can always punch above their weight, and in a big game they will definitely raise their standards. They're a very good team and they always play like a pack, so that's one thing we're always aware of Sri Lanka.
Well, more sporting action now in Sports Beat. Pakistan beat Minos UAE by 7 wickets at Sher-e-Banga National Stadium in Mirpur in the 6th match of the Asia Cup. An unbroken 114-run stand for the 4th wicket between Shoaib Malik with 63 runs not out and Omar Akmal with 50 not out sealed the issue for Shahid Afridi's men, who chased down the victory target of 130 in 18.4 overs. The Indian women's hockey team went down fighting 2-3 to slump to their second straight defeat against Germany in their tour to South Africa. The first period started with an Indian team looking to make up for the 0-3 loss in the previous tie against Germany. The Indian women's hockey team took the lead twice in the match but failed to hold and finally succumbed to a penalty corner that gave Germany a narrow win. New FIFA President Gianni Infantino has taken charge at office and celebrated his first day by organizing a friendly football match for employees and guests on the grounds of FIFA's headquarters in Zurich. Infantino, who is the General Secretary of European Soccer's governing body UEFA, was elected on Friday to become only the 9th FIFA president in FIFA's 112-year history. That's all in this edition of news, but up next is Parliament news in both English and Hindi. Keep watching Rajya Sabha TV.